Kiss it, dude. Come on. Kiss on the cheek. Come on, let's take it.
After Hours by The Weeknd is commonly regarded as his best album. And while I do agree, I do think this is his best album, I also think it's a little overrated. Now before I get into this, I'm going to be moving ahead. If you see this blue tape on the wall, don't mention it. Just don't worry about it. Let's get into it. Now, a while ago, I think maybe my third or fourth review was Dawn FM by The Weeknd, and in that video I said that that was my favorite Weeknd album, and I still agree. In my opinion, I don't think Dawn FM is better than After Hours, but I do personally enjoy listening to songs off Dawn FM, and just if I had to listen to one album fully, I'd rather listen to Dawn FM than After Hours. But this album is still amazing. You know, like I said earlier, people say that this is The Weeknd's best album, and I do agree. I think production-wise, lyrics-wise, vocal-wise, just everything, I think he does the best on this album out of any of his other albums. And of course, this album has a ton of hits: Blinding Lights, Save Your Tears, Heartless, Scared to Live, In Your Eyes. I could go on and on and on. But I do think this album does have some pretty decent, like, average songs. They're nothing special. Songs that I don't like Too Late and Alone Again, I think are not that great. Hardest to Love is also fine. The first three songs on this album are really not, I'm not a big fan of them. Usually those are, though if I had to listen to this album again, I'd probably skip those songs, especially Too Late. I think that's my least favorite album, and I think it's a not that great of a song in general. But after Hardest to Love, even including Hardest to Love, every song after that is amazing. Now first I want to talk about Blinding Lights. Of course, it's the most streamed song in history, at least on Spotify. It's at like 3 billion streams. Everyone's heard it 1,000 times. I've listened to it since it came out, and I haven't really gotten tired of it. Of course, there was a brief part where I like skipped it a bunch when it came on, but now re-listening to it again and again, it's still an amazing song. It deserves it makes sense why it's the most streamed song ever. It's just great. Yes, it's a little overplayed, but it's still amazing. And then you have other songs on here, like I said earlier: Scared to Live, In Your Eyes, Save Your Tears, Heartless, After Hours, the title track, and there's so many more. I think every song does what it's supposed to do. I don't think any of the songs are really meant for, like, made to be hits. They all kind of fit together. While it's not like Dawn FM, how each song transitions into the other one so perfectly, they all kind of fit this, like, the same vibe of this, like, 80s-ish album. Now, I will say, I have never really gone back to this album that much. Besides when I first listened to it, I really only added Blinding Lights, Save Your Tears, In Your Eyes, and Scared to Live. But after re-listening to it, I found a lot more songs that I enjoyed the first time, but I enjoyed so much more the second time I listened to it, like Heartless, After Hours, Repeat After Me, and a lot of others. Now, this album is 15 songs long, and some of the songs are like 6 minutes. The songs get long at points, but none of them really feel boring. Like, this album in whole is about, 53 minutes, I think. Oh, it's more than 50 minutes long, but it doesn't feel that long. It still feels like it doesn't get me bored like most albums this length would. Now, maybe that's because of the unique and interesting production, or just every song is really good. Now, I will say the first two songs, Alone Again, Too Late, I was really like listening to this again for the first time in a while. I was like, wow, this album isn't as good as I remembered it to be. But then once it got to like Hardest to Love and everything past that, I was like, okay, this deserves to be praised as it is. Now, I'm not really sure why this album never like took me in as much as Dawn FM did. I tried to point to the album, but I missed. I forgot directions. It's hard. And I don't know why it didn't like make me love it as much as every other Weeknd fan did, and this was the second time I listened to it. I haven't listened to it in a long time, not since it came out. To be honest, I didn't listen to it when it came out. I listened to it pretty recently, like early 2022 probably, which I know, fake Weeknd fan over here. But maybe I just need to listen to it a couple more times. Like this time I listened to it, I did like it a lot more than I did originally. I have always thought this album was kind of overrated. While I understand why you like that, it was just never my type of thing. It never really hooked me, and maybe because I went into it with such high expectations, like this is the best Weeknd album, it's the best album ever made, and it's just the best thing ever, and I was like, yeah, it's good, it's really good to be fair, but I still enjoy Dawn FM more. Now, there aren't any features on this album, and I think that's for the better. In my Dawn FM review, I said I liked the features, I liked him with Lil Wayne, I liked Jim Carrey on that album. I wasn't the biggest fan of Tyler, the Creator on it, but I still think The Weeknd does great with other artists, but I also think he's amazing by himself. Now, I'm glad there aren't any features on this album. I think if he got someone, I think it might have ruined like what he was kind of going for. I think all the songs fit so much better by himself, and he doesn't really need anybody to compliment him or to like push the songs to a higher level, because they're already at that higher level.
That song on, dog. Songs out there, dog.
Sniper alert. Snipe confession, sniping.
Sniper.
And with all of that being said, I'm going to give After Hours by The Weeknd a 9 out of 10. Now, I do think this is his best album. It's not my favorite. It's probably my second favorite. I think I still enjoy Dawn FM more than this, and then it'd be After Hours. But this still is really great. It's great R&B music. While I think another listen will make me love it even more. After 2 listens, I really enjoy it. It doesn't get too boring, while the songs do get a little long. It never felt like, wow, is this song gonna end soon? I was never like, oh my god, this needs to end. I was like, wow, this is over already? It felt like I listened to it in 30 minutes, but it was an hour. And so I highly recommend this listen. If you're a Weeknd fan, you've probably already heard it. If you like Blinding Lights, which you've definitely heard, then you'd probably like this album. If you like R&B, you'll like this album. Just listen to it. It's great. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Leave a like. Comment what you think. Am I wrong? Am I right? Do you agree? Do you disagree? I don't know, man. Dislike it if you don't like it. Subscribe to the channel. Follow all the links in the description. Watch the other videos. And I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye, everybody.